couple years back, I heard about some game jam for making games for disabled gamers, especially blind gamers, because there are hardly any games made for them. And it just stuck in my mind since then. I always thought it sounded like such a fun challenge to try to make a game with no visuals. So a couple weeks back, I finally sat down and started thinking about what I could make, what kind of game, what could you make a game with no visuals? What sort of mechanics would it have? How would it work? And so I sat down, came up with an idea, started working on it. I set out a few rules right at the start. First is obviously no visuals. Second was I wanted it to be for the lowest common denominator of hardware, so keyboard and cheap headphones. Figure a blind person wouldn't have use for a mouse, and not everyone's going to have fancy 3D spatial sound headphones. And then finally, no narrator. I figured that's the easy option, is to just have a game where somebody explains everything that's going on and then you just choose from some options of what you can do. Doesn't actually sound very fun. I want it to be, an actually fun game, real time with action, things going on. So I came up with an idea for a first-person RPG where you use echolocation to get around. So the first problem in this game is, how do you tell which way you're facing using only audio and only one-dimensional audio, only left and right ears? So I came up with a compass using player's heartbeat. There's just a heartbeat that continuously plays, and the more east you face, the more it pans right, the more west you face, the more it pans to the left, and the more north you face, the more it pitches up, and the more south you face, the more it pitches down. That lets you roughly figure out which way you're facing. And then I also added, so use the A and D keys to turn left and right, and then you can tap shift to align to the nearest cardinal direction. Since everything in this game is going to be on a grid, there won't be any diagonals. Just keep it simple like that. And then next was examining your surroundings. So using echolocation, you can tell how far away something is in front of you. So I needed something that was responsive and precise. So responsive, it would tell you right away that information, and precise, it would tell you almost exactly how far away something was. So the first thing I did was I did like a pinging sound, so you tap the space bar and it would play a ping, and then sometime later, based on how far away in front of you something was, it would play a return ping sound. So it was fairly precise, but it wasn't responsive. It took too long to get the information. So I came up with, then you'd hold the space bar and it would just rapidly play a clicking sound, and then the volume of the clicks would change based on how far away whatever in front of you was. So it was responsive, but wasn't very precise except for extreme differences in distance. So I needed something better, and I came up finally with using a tiered system where I'd divide distances into several tiers, and it would play a unique sound for each tier. For example, if there's something within 2 meters of you, play one sound. Something within 8 meters, it would play another. And then anything past that would play a third sound. I settled on 3 different tiers because I found any more than that and I would just get them mixed up in my head. I added another layer of information too, in that the rate that the clicks play changes based on distance. So the closer you are to a lower tier in distance, the faster the clicks get, and the closer you are to a higher tier, the slower they get. And then one more thing was seeing what's to your sides, because if you're walking down a corridor and an opening appears to your left, say, there's no way to know unless you were to turn and echolocate at that time, and it would be really annoying to have to constantly be turning around, echolocating as you walk around. So I made so there's sort of a spatial check on each side where if there's a space to your left or right, it would play like an ambience, sort of breezy sound in that ear. So if you walk down a corridor and another corridor opens to your right, then in your right ear, that ambient sound will play. And then the sound is scaled by the amount of space. So if there's a small room to your side, then it just plays quietly. But if there's a long room, it plays loud. And then if you were to go into like a large cavern, then it would play in both ears really loud. The final thing is movement, and that was really simple. Just use W and S to move forward and backwards, and then a footstep sound is played approximately once every meter. So I put together a basic demo of this. Here's a snippet of gameplay with some commentary of what's going on. So I can hear that I'm facing south right now. If I echolocate, sounds like there's something within tier 2 distance of me. I don't hear any openings to my left or right. Let me just check north real quick. Okay, I can hear an opening to my right, which is south. but I don't hear anything to my left. Let's head south. Okay, now I hear an opening to my left, and there's a wall right in front of me, so I'll turn left, facing east now. And looks like there's something farther than 8 meters away, so I head that way. And there's a wall in front of me, and I hear an opening to my left. So this demo is available on GameJolt right now. There's a link in the description. If you play it, please leave a comment with some feedback, anything you ran in difficulty in. There's a couple checkpoints. You'll hear a door slam shut behind you, basically, and that means that you've progressed through the demo farther, so that's how you know you're making progress.